stream things. It's really great. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Turnout. I am your host, Eloy, and it's 9:45 on a Friday night, February 22nd, and I actually just got done watching the next to last episode of this new show on Netflix called Love is Blind. And it's good. It's an interesting show. I really wasn't sure what to expect. And I kind of talked about it a little bit when I did my the Hotter Half review, but like as much as I say like I really don't like, reality shows and stuff like that, I always seem to be dragged into them all the time, just pretty much all the time. But anyway, I wanted to kind of come on here, since it's at night, and maybe some of you are up and want to talk about the show too. Maybe you have recently watched it. But I kind of wanted to talk about the 6 couples who came out. We only have 5 of them still, as one of them bit the dust really early on. And I kind of want to I want to make predictions today as to whether I think they are going to make it. And then when the show comes back on the 27th, which is in 5 days, when it comes back on, then we can come back and then we can figure out whether or not we were correct in our predictions. So, and I thought it would be fun to do this as a live stream, just to see if anybody popped in and wanted to possibly talk with us. But, even if it's just me, I'm going to have fun. So it's gonna be great. So speaking of which, like I said, we ended up with one couple who got out of the game really fast, and that was these two, Diamond, and of course now I'm blanking on the dude's name. They went out pretty quickly, pretty much as soon as they. I should probably let's rephrase this. So the premise of the show, Love is Blind, is that can you fall in love with somebody based on personality alone without having to have met them before? So that's the question. And it's a good question because some people can and some people can't. So the first, the first couple here, I remember her name is Diamond, and I should probably look up what this guy's name is. I just don't remember it off the top of my head. But he was already keeping secrets, like straight from the get-go. So I was like, oh, well, they're obviously not going to make it. And then they didn't. Here, I'm gonna bring up the list because now I don't know why I'm blanking on the names. So I'm gonna actually look at these. I'm gonna look at the names here. So let's see. Oh, it was Carlton. That's right. It was Carlton and Diamond. So that's who it was. So Carlton and Diamond, they're the two who ended up getting engaged, but they ended up not surviving it all. So, which is sad. It's sad that they didn't, but at the same time, very understandable. Again, he was keeping secrets from like the get-go. So totally on him. It's totally his fault. She actually seemed like she was pretty good with it. I mean, she was like, hey, like, give me a few and we can talk about it like when I'm ready. And he's just like, I can't believe you're acting like this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, so that's that group. Let's go to the next one, which is where the last episode left us at a cliffhanger. And this is Damien and Giannina, who goes by Gigi, even though Giannina is not hard to say, so just say Giannina. So this couple's very interesting because I don't even understand how they got together, because he's very sarcastic and she like talks with like a baby voice and it's weird. Their entire relationship has been kind of a whirlwind. I think they're the ones that have had the most fights. They have like tons of fights, and then they make up, and then they have a fight, and then they make up. And I guess that's a way to have a relationship. But they actually ended the last episode on a cliffhanger with Giannina saying yes on the altar, and him starting to cry, and then it cuts. So we have no clue if they ended up actually getting married. My guess is that he will say yes. Damien seems to be pretty infatuated with her. The thing about watching this show like this is that you get the inside scoop because you get to see the confessionals, and it's probably stuff that they're not even really saying to each other. But it's just weird that way. So Damien will probably say yes, and then they will end up being married. Do I think they should be married? I would say no. It seems like a very volatile relationship, and they should probably just call it a day. I think, though, that they will get married. So put this one in the they are going to get married category. Okay. So these are, of course, again, these are my predictions. So we'll see what ends up actually happening. The next one I want to talk about is, let's talk about these two. This is Kelly and Kenny, which is just weird. I don't like the Kenny Kelly. Anyway, just like one letter difference, and it's weird. They're kind of like an older couple. I mean, kind of old, like early to mid 30s. I guess is older compared to the other ones. I think they're in their 20s, and they are both really into each other. But she seems to be not wanting to make it entirely physical. They've done like everything but actual sex, and it's a weird thing because you can see him starting to get slightly frustrated with that arrangement, where she is like, I just don't know. I just don't want it to ruin things. And I'm like, but so here's my thing about sex. This might be TMI, but like, I know a lot of people may want to wait until after marriage, but like but what if it's bad? It's like, like, don't you want to know that beforehand so that you don't get married and then you're then theoretically stuck with that person? It's not like divorce doesn't exist, but like theoretically you'd want to know that you're going to be compatible physically before you get married. So what I see happening is I see them not getting married. I see him being kind of all in, and I see her kind of pulling away and saying no. He doesn't seem like he's completely all in, so he might also say no, but I think this couple will not get married. I think that they are going to make excellent friends. Like, they're going to be like really good friends for each other, but I feel like marriage is not in the cards for Kelly and Kenny. Blah. All right, so now we're going to go with my favorite couple of the group is actually Cameron and Lauren. This is an interesting coupling because they're actually both like kind of adorable and really into each other, and they seem emotionally compatible. They seem physically compatible. It just seems like it's really good. She seems to be hung up a lot on the racial aspect of it, and Cam just seems like he's just like a cool guy. He seems like he's not really all that bothered by it. He says that he's dated, a black woman before, so like it doesn't really matter to him. And he probably dealt with everything that she's now dealing with because this is the first white dude she's ever dated. He's already dealt with all of those feelings and having to do all of that stuff. But she seems to also not want to give up her personal space. She seems like awkward when she has to talk about race. I don't know. She seems like she's the weird one here. I think he will be all in, and I think she will be all in. I think this one is like the perfect couple. They're definitely going to get married. And do I think they should be married? Yes, I think they should definitely be married. I don't know. I like them a lot. It's a funny thing about this kind of show, and it's a unique kind of dating show where, they are, they're getting together without having ever seen each other. So they just have conversations, and then they're like, let's get married. And then they go from conversations to let's go on vacation. All right, cool. Well, now let's move in together. All right, now we have to introduce each other to our friends. And it kind of goes in like this thing, and they're going to get married in like with like within a month they're married from the time that they meet each other. So I decided that they should be married. Bam, they're definitely going to be married. That's my thought. I think they're going to be married. Now I want to talk about Barnett and Amber. Barnett and Amber were actually a couple that I liked kind of from the beginning. But Barnett was teetering between Amber and another girl named Jessica, and he kind of was like not really sure which way he wanted to go, and then he eventually picked Amber. Again, I think this is one where like Amber is like so intense and Barnett is so like sarcastic and intense as well. And I think the two of them work really well together. They are having kind of financial situations that are kind of becoming parts of their conversation and obstacles. Also, Barnett is really, really into his family, and she even asked him like, well, if your family didn't like me, what would have happened? And he's like, I don't even know. Like, we probably wouldn't be being married. And it was like, oh, wow, that's a sucker punch. But I really like them as a couple. I really like them as a couple. So I kind of hope that they end up together. So I'm crossing my fingers for Barnett and Amber. I think they should be married. I think that they work well. I think that they kind of complete each other, and I think it's nice. So I think they will be married, and I think that they should be married. I think that they actually will make a good couple. Then it brings us to the last couple. Yeah, this brings us to the last couple, and that's Mark and Jessica. Now, remember, I just mentioned that Jessica was thinking about getting together with Barnett, and then Barnett picked Amber. And this relationship has been a crash and burn since the beginning because Mark has been all in for Jessica, and Jessica really wants Barnett and has made it very apparent that she really wanted Barnett and she didn't really want Mark. And like it took forever for them to get physical. And then even after that, like, she's like, I think it's still just a friendship and all that stuff. But she still keeps telling him, I love you and we should be together. And she's still contemplating marrying this guy that she does not love. She is not physically attracted to. Nothing is right in this relationship. And it is all her fault. But also kind of his fault for not seeing it. And kind of, he's like trying to be like the really good, supportive, friendly boyfriend, and like, it's okay if you don't love me now, you'll love me later. And she's like, I probably won't. So I do not think they will get married. So here's two scenarios. First off, I don't think they should be married. Like, again, we get the inside scoop with the confessionals. She is terrible and does not want to be with him, and it keeps stringing him along because I think she just doesn't want to be alone. She's kind of obsessed with the fact that she's 10 years older than him. She's 34 and he's 24. And at the same time, she keeps like, hey, everybody, like, I mean, he's 10 years younger than me. That's an issue, right? And everybody's like, no, it's really not. Get over yourself. So she doesn't get over herself. And so here's the two scenarios. It will either be that they both realize it, or one of them realizes it and they don't get married, and they're like truthful to each other, and they like don't be butt heads to each other and like ruin each other's lives. The other option is that they go through with it, and then they're going to end up divorced after. Like, it's not going to be a lasting thing. From what I have seen, he does not seem like the kind of guy who will say no to her. He seems too invested and too sure of himself and being able to convince her that he is the right one. She is a train wreck and could say yes or no, and I'm not even sure. So I think that they should definitely not get married, but something tells me that they will. So that's my final guess. They should not get married, but they will. And just to kind of go through the list again, it's these two, Mark and Jessica, should not get married, but probably will. Barnett and Amber should get married and probably will. Cameron and Lauren should get married and probably will, but maybe won't, because Lauren, again, is very hung up on the race and stuff. These two should not get married and probably won't. And then these two should not get married, but probably will. So those are my final predictions, and I guess we will see what ends up happening when everything comes to a head. Thank you to the couple of people who were here in the live stream. Thank you for coming and checking this out. It was a weird time, 9:45 on a Friday night, the same night as the Nevada caucus, so maybe people are watching politics and whatnot right now. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Those are my predictions, and I guess we'll see what happens next week. So in the meantime, I have been your host, Eloy. This has been The Turnout. Thanks for showing up.